A year of grace and renewal. In the quiet embrace of Willow Creek, a small American town where every face was familiar and every story intertwined like the branches of the old oak trees that lined Main Street, Emily Thompson awoke one crisp winter morning with a heart quietly heavy yet gently hopeful. Now in her mid-30s and having weathered life's unexpected storms, Emily felt a stirring deep within her, a call to rediscover the beauty of life, love, and true friendship. As she stepped outside into the frosty dawn, the glistening light of day reflected on the snow, and she knew that her year of transformation was about to begin. The winter had been long and introspective. Emily had spent countless evenings curled up by the fireplace in her little cottage on Maple Lane, lost in books and memories. Yet, those solitary moments had sparked a longing for change. Determined to embrace new beginnings, she began her daily walks through the town. In the silent cold of early morning, she encountered Mr. Howard, the kindly old postman, who always offered a warm smile and a gentle greeting. "Morning, Emily," he would say, his voice a blend of wisdom and cordiality. "There's a magic in the air today. Don't let the chill fool you, the promise of spring is just around the corner." His words, like small seeds of hope, planted themselves deeply in her heart. One day, as the weeks slowly crept forward, Emily paused outside the town's quaint cafe where her friend Sarah was setting up an outdoor table adorned with tiny potted winter blooms. "Emily, it's so good to see you," Sarah exclaimed, her voice bright despite the lingering cold. "I've been wondering how you've been holding up." Over cups of steaming cocoa, the two friends reminisced about lost loves and dreams deferred, while quietly planning for the coming warmth. The conversation was sprinkled with laughter and shared tears, forging an unspoken promise between them, to welcome every season of life with open arms. As February melted gradually into March, the harshness of winter gave way to tentative hints of spring. The snow receded, revealing patches of tender green and crocuses pushing through the frosty earth. Emily felt the transformation echoing in her soul. She began to volunteer at the town's community garden, where the simple act of nurturing fragile seedlings mirrored the careful cultivation of her own spirit. One bright morning, while digging tender soil alongside her new friend Michael, a gentle man with eyes that held centuries of kindness, Emily confessed, "I used to be afraid of growing again. The seasons remind me that change, even when it seems uncertain, is nature's way of inviting us to bloom." Michael smiled, wiping sweat from his brow, and replied, "Every season has its own beauty. Just like you, Emily. You have a strength that shines brighter with every passing day." His words, sincere and meant to uplift, resonated deeply with her. Together, with the community around them, they planted marigolds, daisies, and wild flowers that would soon bridge the gap between past sorrow and future joy. The days lengthened, and as April unfurled, so did a fresh chapter in Emily's life. It was during a community picnic at Riverside Park, a favorite gathering spot for the townspeople, that she reconnected with an old friend, Henry Adams, whose laughter was as infectious as the scent of freshly cut grass. Over a shared meal of homemade sandwiches, Emily and Henry wandered along the meandering paths, drawn into a conversation that quickly turned personal. "Do you ever feel," Henry began hesitantly, "that life sometimes pushes you to step out of your comfort zone, inviting you to explore parts of yourself you'd long hidden away?" Emily nodded, her eyes welling with unspoken memories. "Yes," she admitted softly, "it's like every conversation today is a gentle reminder that I can heal, can move forward, and can find love in the most unexpected places." Their exchange, full of vulnerability and mutual understanding, blossomed into a friendship that promised to be a beacon for both in the seasons ahead. Late spring arrived with a burst of color that transformed Willow Creek into a living canvas. The gentle hum of cicadas, the sweet scent of jasmine, and melodious laughter filled the air. Emily, invigorated by the success of the community garden and the warmth of renewed connections, began to host small gatherings at her home. Over freshly baked bread and tangy preserves, neighbors and friends filled her modest dining room with conversations that spanned dreams, disappointments, and the courage to let go of the past. These evenings under softly lit lanterns were filled with the palpable understanding that each person in the room carried a story of resilience and redemption. One such evening, as dusk blurred into night, Emily found herself in conversation with Lucy, a gentle soul who had recently moved to town. Lucy, with her quiet grace and reflecting eyes, confided how her relocation had been spurred by heartbreak and the need to reinvent herself far from memories that clung like shadows. "I think we all need a fresh page sometimes," Lucy whispered, her voice trembling with both sorrow and hope. "In this community, I see not just acceptance, but the promise that every wound can eventually bloom into something beautiful." Emily, touched by Lucy's vulnerability, reached over and squeezed her hand. "You're not alone," she promised. "Here, we share our burdens and our joys. We learn to live again, with every breath of spring air." As June rolled in, the town prepared for its annual summer festival, a celebration of life that brought together families, friends, and even travelers passing through. The air was filled with the tang of barbecue, the rhythm of fiddles and guitars, and the unspoken promise that joy comes when hearts are open. Emily found herself swept up in the merriment, dancing under the summer sky with friends like Sarah, Michael, and the affable Henry Adams. There was an energy, a reminder that time, while fleeting, could be savored in moments of shared delight. In a quiet corner of the festivities, she even encountered Daniel, a reserved artist whose vivid paintings captured the soul of Willow Creek. Their eyes met over a stall of local art, and in that silent communication, Emily realized that the universe works in mysterious ways sometimes, bringing together kindred spirits at the most serendipitous moments. "Your work is extraordinary," Emily remarked gently as she examined one of Daniel's paintings, a delicate portrayal of the town's autumn in hues of gold and amber. Daniel, slightly taken aback by her earnest compliment, replied with a modest smile, "Thank you. I paint what I feel about this place. It's where I found my voice." In that conversation, as the festival lights twinkled and music mingled with laughter, a quiet love began to kindle, tender and tentative, waiting for the right season to emerge fully. Summer deepened and carried with it long, sun-drenched days filled with promise and discovery. Emily spent many afternoons walking along the banks of the gently flowing Willow Creek, her mind wandering as freely as the water. The reflections of sunlit trees danced on the surface, and in that simple spectacle, she found a metaphor for her own journey. Sometimes the surface is calm, while currents beneath continue ever onward. During a particularly serene afternoon, she paused by the old wooden bridge where she often met her friend Robert, another pillar of the community known for his genuine compassion and unwavering optimism. Robert recounted his own colorful tales of youthful misadventures and the lessons he'd learned later in life. "The trick," he said with a hearty laugh, "is to cherish every chapter of life. Even the bitter parts lend flavor to the sweet." Emily laughed softly in agreement, feeling her heart lighten with every shared anecdote. The vibrancy of summer inevitably gave way to the mellow hues of early fall. As July bowed gracefully before the crisp promise of autumn, the leaves began their slow transformation from lush green to fiery red and gold. The atmosphere of Willow Creek turned reflective, and with this change came moments of introspection regarding the impermanence of every joy and the bittersweet beauty of transition. At a community bonfire on an October evening, Emily found herself seated next to Grace, an elderly woman whose lifetime of experiences had rendered her both wise and tender. Grace told Emily stories of lost loves, surprising second chances, and the importance of forgiveness. "We all have seasons in our hearts," Grace said, looking into the glowing embers, "and sometimes, to let new life in, you must let the old one go." That night, the crackle of the fire mingled with the soft murmur of voices, and Emily felt a deep connection to every soul present. There was an unspoken reverence for the beauty of aging, of changing, and of growing beyond one's former self. As the flames licked the chilly air, Emily recalled the countless silent nights of winter that had tested her resolve, and how those very nights had prepared her for the radiance of spring. "I think," she confided to Grace in a tender, reflective exchange, "that every ending is a beginning in disguise." Grace's eyes sparkled with affirmation as she whispered, "Indeed, dear. Every scar is a story, every memory a stepping stone to a future bathed in forgiveness and love. In the midst of autumn's serenity, Emily reconnected with an old flame from her younger days, Andrew, a man whose soulful eyes and gentle demeanor had once brought a hint of mischief to her heart. Meeting unexpectedly at a local farmer's market, their conversation was at once hesitant and electric. Andrew's voice, both apologetic and hopeful, acknowledged the years that had passed. "I never forgot the passion we shared," he said quietly, "and I see now that every decision back then was made with a youthful heart. Maybe, with time, we might find a way to forgive ourselves and maybe even rediscover that love." Though cautious, Emily recognized the truth in his words. In the golden glow of the autumn afternoon, amid the rustle of fallen leaves, they spoke earnestly about the complexities of life, of love lost and lessons learned. Even if life should not offer them a second chance, that conversation alone was a healing balm. As November approached, its cool air imbued the town with a quiet dignity. The days grew shorter and the chill in the wind was tempered by the warmth of candlelit windows and the promise of reunion. Emily threw herself into preparations for the town's annual harvest celebration, a time when families gathered to share not only food but memories that bridged years and healed old wounds. In the cozy glow of a community hall decorated with autumn wreaths and scattered pine cones, friends and neighbors shared stories of gratitude. Emily, now a pillar of strength and gentle wisdom in Willow Creek, felt the buzz of life pulsating all around her. During one poignant moment that night, as laughter mingled with soft music and the crackle of a distant fire, Emily found herself engaged in a candid conversation with Sarah about the nature of personal growth. "I think," Sarah confided, "that every hardship we endure is like the turning of a season in our hearts. You know, winter's long solitude sometimes gives way to the bright blossoms of spring." Emily slowly nodded, her eyes reflective. "I've been through winters that felt endless," she admitted, "but each one taught me a lesson, and now I embrace the warmth even more deeply." Their words, rich with shared experience and genuine affection, fostered a sense of solidarity that transcended time. In that moment, Emily realized that true growth comes not from the absence of pain but from the courage to see beauty in its aftermath. The arrival of December signaled the close of the year, a time of subtle introspection, gentle goodbyes, and heartfelt welcomes for the future. In the quiet moments of early winter, as snow once again began to paint the town in a soft, silent blanket, Emily found a sense of contentment that she had long thought unattainable. The cycle had come full circle, and with each face on Main Street, each conversation in the worn wood of the community hall, she recognized that love, friendship, and growth were the truest forms of art. Every interaction, every hesitant smile, every tear shed in private was a note in the symphony of her existence. One chilly evening, while packing a small box of mementos from the past year, a pressed flower from the community garden, a handwritten note from Henry, a faded photograph of the summer festival, Emily sat by her window and contemplated the journey behind her. It was in that soft glow of lamplight that she realized the profound truth, that life was an endless cycle of beginnings after endings. In accepting her past, with all its beauty and sorrow, she discovered her own capacity to forgive, to love again, and to believe in the refreshing promise of each new day. Not every moment had been perfect. There were days when uncertainty, regret, and the fear of not being enough crept in unannounced. Yet, each imperfection led her to moments of triumph, where even the smallest acts, a neighbor's visit, a shared laugh, a quiet conversation under the stars, became proof that forgiveness and growth could exist side by side. With every shift in the seasons, Emily embraced the changes, each one a lesson in resilience. The community of Willow Creek, with its woven tapestry of lives and stories, became her sanctuary, where love was shared freely, where each mistake was met with gentle understanding, and where the courage to dream was kindled over and over again. As the year wore on, the threads of love and friendship began weaving their most beautiful pattern yet. Daniel, the quiet artist whose paintings were imbued with the soft hues of emotion, continued to impress upon Emily that art was as much a part of life as the cycles of nature. Their conversations would often stretch long into the night as they shared intimate details about their dreams and hopes amidst the fragrance of night-blooming flowers. Every brush stroke, Daniel once remarked, is a reminder that even in darkness, there is beauty waiting to emerge. Emily felt that same truth in her own journey, a delicate interplay of light and shadow, joy and sorrow, hope and despair. With winter's return came a reflective calm, a precious pause after the vibrant whirlwind of summer and autumn. Emily began to document her experiences in a journal, each entry a mosaic illustrating the myriad moments that defined her year. The pages slowly filled with memories of laughter echoing in the town square, heartfelt exchanges in the crisp evenings, and the reassuring support of friends during her darkest hours. In every scribbled note was an affirmation that every season, however challenging, was also a canvas on which hope could be painted. In the quiet hours of the night, when the world outside was hushed under a thick blanket of snow, Emily would sometimes sit by the window, lost in thought. She revisited the bittersweet moments of her past, late conversations with Andrew, the gentle nurturing of friendships like those with Sarah, Michael, and Robert, and even those tender interactions with strangers who had left an indelible mark on her heart. It was during these contemplative moments that she learned the true meaning of personal growth, that it is not measured by grand gestures or dramatic transformations, but by the quiet, persistent will to wake up every day and keep loving, keep forgiving, and keep embracing life with courage and compassion. As the cold deepened and the festive glow of holiday lights began to twinkle along the sidewalks of Willow Creek, the entire town seemed to exude a warmth that transcended temperature. Neighbors exchanged carefully wrapped gifts, and old acquaintances shared laughter that bridged years of separation. In the midst of this communal celebration, Emily organized a small gathering at her home, a culmination of the lessons learned and the relationships nurtured over the past year. There was a sense of unity that resonated in every shared story, every heartfelt toast, every promise of a new beginning. With hands clasped and eyes shimmering with hope, they celebrated not just the season but the enduring spirit of togetherness. And so, as the last days of the year approached, Emily Thompson stood by her frosted window and watched as the gentle flakes of snow began to fall once more. In that serene spectacle, she saw the reflection of a life transformed, of lessons learned in the quiet company of friends and strangers alike. Willow Creek was more than just a town, it was a living, breathing tapestry of shared human experience, rich in kindness, compassion, and the never-ending capacity to love. Emily's heart brimmed with gratitude for the beauty that each season had revealed, and she carried that light within her as she stepped forward into the promise of yet another winter, knowing that every ending was but a prelude to the blossoming of a renewed tomorrow. Over the course of the year, Emily learned that love could be gentle and fierce, that friendship was the salve to life's wounds, and that true personal growth was forged in the fires of adversity only to emerge transformed. The tender moments with Michael in the garden, the comforting presence of Sarah during moments of vulnerability, the cautious rekindling of an old flame with Andrew, and the unexpected bloom of affection with Daniel, all these experiences converged into a profound understanding of life's delicate balance. She understood that while each season had its hardships, it also held the promise of beauty and rebirth. In one reflective afternoon during late December, as the town gathered in the warmth of a community hall to exchange hopes for the new year, Emily was approached by Robert. With a gentle smile and soft-spoken reassurance, he said, "Every day presents us with a choice to dwell on what was lost or to welcome what is yet to come. I see you, Emily, and I know you choose hope. And that hope makes all the difference." His words, filled with both admiration and empathy, settled over her like a soft blanket on a cold night. Emily's response was quiet and sincere, "It is because of moments like these, shared with people like you, that I truly believe in the power of renewal." The simplicity of their dialogue spoke volumes, underscoring the belief that every ending was merely the beginning of something new and beautiful. As the final hours of the year ticked away, memories of the past seasons coalesced into a symphony of love, loss, laughter, and learning. The journey had been long and winding, yet every step, whether taken in the warmth of summer joy or the reflective solitude of winter's chill, had contributed to the blossoming of a heart that now beat with resilience and grace. Willow Creek stood as a testament to the timeless dance of nature and humanity, and Emily Thompson found within herself an unwavering faith that tomorrow's sunrise would bring with it the promise of new beginnings. On that final winter night, beneath a starlit sky, surrounded by the gentle murmur of old friends and the silent blessings of the past year, Emily lifted her eyes and whispered a quiet prayer of gratitude. In the soft interplay of shadows and light, she recognized the beauty of life as it unfolded, moment by precious moment, a narrative interlaced with forgiving friendships, gentle reconciliations, and the endless capacity of the human heart to heal. In that quiet hour of introspection, she resolved that no matter what seasons the future might hold, she would face them with an open heart and an unwavering spirit, forever inspired by the tapestry of experiences that had made her who she was. And so, as a new dawn crept over the horizon of Willow Creek and the promise of another year beckoned, Emily Thompson stepped forward with quiet determination and a tender smile. With every breath of chilly winter air and every murmur of the waking town, she carried within her the lessons of love, the strength of friendship, and the enduring truth that personal growth is a journey that, like the seasons, forever renews itself with grace, compassion, and hope. If you enjoyed the story, subscribe to my channel and check the description for ways to support my work.